second is in relation to the first. You see that? Now, does it have to be that way? Does it have to be where you have a huge first and a really skinny second? No, it doesn't. And we were talking about that. Where's Tim? We were talking about that beforehand, were we not? It could be that the first is this big, and you wrap it. And how wraparound works is that you take out the first, you pay it, and you put it back in, and what do you do with the difference? You put it in International Bank. Now, what would be an example of a small first? A seller financing deal. And like Tim and I were talking about, this is the deal where the elderly, if they take their cash, what are they going to do with it?
Travel.
Huh?
Travel?
They're going to put it in a bank. What do they get in the bank? Nothing. What does a CD pay? 2%. What if you were to give them 6%? Isn't that a whole lot better? By the way, they will live off that money. They do not want this amount to get smaller. So many a time you can talk sellers, especially the older ones, into interest-only loans where all you pay is the interest on the loan. It doesn't get smaller. Oh. One of the benefits of doing AITD with a conventional loan, where it's so big like this to start with, and yours is skinny to start with, what happens to conventional loans? They amortize, they get smaller. And guess what? When these get smaller, the difference between what the buyer owes you and what you owe the conventional loan gets bigger. Talk to your accountants about this. But back in the 90s, when I did these deals, and I got paid the difference between what I originally lent them as an all-inclusive trustee and what the original had been paid down to, which got bigger and bigger over time, was tax-free. Here's an example of a hard money loan. This is a wraparound mortgage. First is big. Maybe I should paint this green. And the second includes that. Maybe I should paint this blue. Here are the basics. Fully amortized, low interest or interest-only loan. Purchase the property for zero down. Doesn't have to be zero down. Could be low down. Subject to an existing loan. And then sell the property at a higher interest rate and longer term financing than the underlying loan. So in other words, if you FHA 5% loan is the big one, you sell it for 8%. Because you're the bank. You're qualifying it. If they can't pay 8%, 7%. But you get 2% interest on your profit, plus you get 2% on that $200,000 FHA loan. That wasn't even your money to start with. What's 2% of $200,000? It's $4,000 each year. That wasn't even your money that you're getting interest on. Here's an example. This is a hard money loan. Borrower needs $101,000. You want to pump up your IRA, which is your individual retirement account. You create two loans. A first of $100,000, which will be supplied by an investor. In this instance, this is what I do. Okay, investor puts up $100,000, and my IRA puts up the difference of $100,000. I create two loans right at the beginning. A first of $100,000 and a second of $101,000. First of $100,000, annual payment is $10,000 a year. Total. I wrap it with a second, which which I use $1,000 for my self-directed IRA, but it's called an all-inclusive trust deed, which is in the amount of $101,000. And it's 1 year, 11% interest. Hard money loan. Hard money loans are expensive. So, $101,000, which is the total loan minus the investors of $100,000, means you have a $1,000 investment, $1,000 investment in your IRA. On your all-inclusive trust deed, the big one, we're going to get $11,110. We have to pay the first, $10,000. That leaves $1,110 in annual payments. $1,110 cash flow, and 1,100 divided by 1,000 is 100. Yield is 111%. Your initial investment was $1,000. Your cash flow for the year was over 1,000. Did anybody not follow that? You're lying. So, the reason is, you can't see? No. It's possible, but you can get a copy. Remember that this doesn't want to go back. Okay. The $100,000, you're doing that from an investor, right? You understand that one? Say yes. Yes. Okay. You're going to put up 1,000, but you're going to create an IOU of 101,000. And you're going to fund the difference between those with $1,000 from your self-directed IRA. Does everybody follow that step? Yeah. This is how to make your IRA big. If we just created a second of $1,000 at 11%, how much would we receive in 1 year? 1,011%. What's the interest on that in 1 year? $110. 110 divided by 1,000 is 11%. Is that clear? Yeah. I am greedy. I want more. So, to get more, I'm creating an all-inclusive trust deed instead of just a second. And so on my $101,000 second, the borrower is going to pay me $11,110. I'm going to turn around and pay the investor $10,000. That leaves $1,110. You follow that? Yeah. Good. That's what's known as the cash flow on the note. Here it is in black and white. You can stand up. Cash flow is at $1,110. We're going to, our initial investment from our IRA was what? $1,000. So we're receiving $1,110 interest, and we only put out $1,000. Isn't that better than 110? I only hear a couple of you. This means yes. And this means the yield, the return on your investment at this point will be 111%. Would anyone in here like to get a yield of 111%? Absolutely. If you don't put your hand up, you're brain dead. How much you get from a bank? Half 1%. And this is 111%. Is that more than 0.5%? Isn't that more better? Yes? Yes. That's the conclusion of my presentation.